ang pinakabongga, punong-puno ng fun and excitement. Itong In na In, iba ang dating. The new TV experience is here. Hataw Pinoy Chicago. It will change your viewing habit. It's hip, sassy, ang galing-galing. Hataw Pinoy Chicago.
What's up, yo? This is Apple from the Black Eyed Peas, and you're watching Hataw Pinoy Chicago. Yeah!
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat mga Pinoy at Pinay, and welcome to Hataw Pinoy Chicago. Ngayon pong hapon na ito, pinalad po tayo ng maigi dahil kasama natin ang isa sa pinakasikat na mga Pilipina all over the world. Siya po ay wala nang iba kundi ating minamahal na si Lea Salonga.
Woo!
Hi! Kumusta na, Lea?
Kaya may pala tayo sa likod ng camera. May pala sa likod. Maraming salamat.
May fan club ka sa likod ng camera.
Mukhang.
So how are you, Lea?
I'm doing really well. I've been traveling, through cities in the U.S. and parts of Canada to do concerts, and I have one concert left at the Horseshoe Casino in Hammond, and it's been fun. It's been a really fun tour. I think we've all just been able to have a really good time entertaining the audiences that have been watching the shows, and everyone seems to just be having a good time. And I've been having fun. The audiences, I'm hoping, have been having fun too.
Because that reflects when you're having fun on stage,
Yeah.
people see it.
Oo. Kasi ang nangyayari when I'm having fun, I just, I give whatever I can to the audience. Tapos, bumabalik na
Right.
mas nasisiyahan sila.
Parang i-share the
It just kind of
energy.
goes back and
Yeah.
forth. And that's something that is so unique to live performances. Humataw ka, tapos parang may babalik na
Right.
energy. And then you throw it back. So it's just this constant back and forth. And it changes from one performance to the next. Minsan kasi may mga audience na medyo parang conservative, medyo parang, they're holding
Laid back
back.
pa konti.
Oo. Tapos meron yung iba na talagang sisigaw mula umpisa hanggang sa pinakahuli.
But so far, ang Filipino audience, how do you see, how do you find
Just been
Filipinos?
they've been loud, they've been rowdy, but in a good way. And when
Especially expatriate Filipinos.
expat Filipinos, there will be somebody who will, in the audience, who will just shout, "I love you!" Mga ganon.
I'm sure.
May hihirit. Laging may hihirit.
I'm sure.
Always fun.
Leah, what amazes me is that your career has spanned for a long time.
A very long time.
Yeah. Because
Huwag
we
na natin sabihin
watched
kung
you.
gaano katagal.
Huwag natin sabihin kasi medyo, matanda lang ako sa iyo ng konti. But I watched you, from a little tot, guessing at JQ,
Yes.
Sing Stars at JQ.
Ay,
And then we
oo.
saw you sa repertory, like Sound of Music, and then Annie, and transformation mo talaga from that, tapos biglang naging Kim. And then now Les Mis. I mean, how would you characterize your career so far? How would you define your career? Anong masasabi mo dun sa iba't ibang phases ng career mo?
Anong masasabi ko tungkol sa iba't ibang phases ng career ko? I gotta think about that. Kasi the nice thing about my career is that it touches on many different things. I do a lot of theater, I record, I do film, I do television, and I guess because I'm somebody that gets bored with just one thing, it's nice that I transfer to something. So lately, it's really been concerts and theater. So pag medyo naaburido na ako sa isa, napupunta naman ako doon sa
Sa
isa.
iba naman.
Oo, sa iba naman. Para
So,
hindi naman ako mapano.
Halo-halo.
Halo-halo.
So it makes it interesting,
It makes it
right?
always interesting. And, when I do, say, personal appearances or press interviews or what, I try to give a witty answer. I try. Not always successful. And I try to infuse a lot of what I do with a sense of humor. So I guess my career, reflecting upon it, it has been interesting because it's touched on so many different things, and at every turn it's been fun.
Yeah, but you know what I've noticed? I did an interview with you like a few years back when you performed here in Chicago, and you look so just comfortable. Now, parang it's a different Leah.
Right. What was it before?
No,
like,
it's,
should I be,
no,
should I be concerned?
No, but you're like you're blooming
Oh,
for
thank
some
you.
reason. You're blooming now. Bakit kaya? What?
Blame it on the alcohol. No, I'm just joking.
And probably family?
I think it's a whole lot of things. I mean, it's being married to a really great guy. It's having a wonderful daughter. It's having a wonderful career. And I think part of it also is turning 40, when you're less concerned with what people think of you, and more concerned about being true to yourself.
Sure.
So I think when you stop trying to make other people happy and just figure out how to make yourself happy, and it kind of just emanates from you anyway.
Right.
And I'd like to think that happiness is contagious. So if you're happy, then somebody next to you or somebody, not too far away from you kind of feels that energy. So I think I think growing older, when you're like 18, 19, 20, it's like, you're too concerned with too much other stuff that you really need
Too
to be
concerned about what others
Yeah.
are saying about you, and you look at all the things that's being written about
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm an actor. I'm a singer. I'm in the public eye, and to a certain extent, I am concerned with what people think. I read reviews from time to time, and sometimes I tell myself, what I shouldn't, because I mean, what does this person's opinion have to necessarily do with me or what I'm trying to do? So I guess when you get
But
older,
you're
you
still,
kind of,
you're still getting rave reviews though.
yeah,
with-
not
for
always.
example,
I mean, I've gotten my share of
We
not
just
raves.
watched you over public television recently, Les Mis.
The 25th anniversary.
Yes, the 20th anniversary of the Les Mis. And then the following day, I had some Filipinos coming over to my office, and we were just talking about you, how they
Right.
watch. And as I told you, I was so surprised at the number of Filipinos who watched that and who particularly tuned in to PBS just to watch you. And they're all blown away by your performance.
Thank you.
So I know that I don't know.
I still get a bit embarrassed.
You're a mother.
Yes.
And what's his Kim, the character that catapulted you to superstardom,
Right.
was also a mother. And now Fantine, the role that you
Yeah.
played in
At the 25th
at
anniversary.
the 25th anniversary, was also a mother. So
Mhm.
I mean, but is your being a mother did it affect your attacking
It
the
does.
role of Fantine?
Yeah, I mean, if I was a mother when I played Kim, I'm sure that performance would have been very, very, very different. I don't think it would have been based so much on information as it would have been life experience. With Fantine, it was a little different because I know what it's like to experience heartbreak. I know what it's like to love a child of your own, and it puts you in a very different emotional place where you're no longer going from imagination
To something.
or information. You're going from memory, and it's far more visceral, I think, when you actually have something upon which to base a
The
performance. Kasi pag puro isip lang, kung puro yung nasa ulo lang tapos inilalabas mo, I'm not always sure na totoo nga yung ginagawa ko kasi tama ba itong ginagawa ko? Kasi wala akong alam eh. Ganon. But when it's something you've actually experienced, I can actually argue with the director or say, no, you don't understand. This is what I went through when I did this. So it's different because you're coming from a place of a grounded place, a very real place.
Parang sinasabi ng mothers natin, malalaman mo lang yan pag naging nanay
Exactly.
ka na, di
Ganun
ba?
ang sinasabi ng nanay ko sa akin na, ay nako, maiintindihan mo lang yan pag naging nanay ka. Pag naging nanay ka, sige, balikan mo ko. Ganun.
Speaking of balikan, mag-pause muna tayo for a short break.
Sige.
And then when we come back from the break, we'll find out from you why Lea Salonga is mad as hell. Bakit kaya? Balik po kami ulit in a few minutes. Sa panahon ngayon, kailangang matalino tayo sa pagpili ng mga produkto at serbisyo. Sa dami ng mga padalahan ng balikbayan boxes, one company stands head and shoulders above the rest.
Sirera Express!
What makes Sirera Express different?
We have earned the trust and confidence of our customers because we always deliver on our promises. Containers released from the customs within 1 business day, with all duties, taxes, and tariff paid.
Check.
Boxes bound for Metro Manila delivered within 3 days after customs release.
Check.
Delivery to Central and Southern Luzon within 7 days.
Check. Check.
Delivery to Northern Luzon, Cagayan Valley, and Bicol region within 10 days.
Check.
Strong and durable double-wall boxes, plastic strapping, courteous, honest, and reliable service with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau.
Check, check, check.
We have been keeping our promises to our customers since 1989.
Try our service and experience for yourself the Sirera Express difference.
Sirera Express! Sirera Express!
Sa Sirera Express, hindi tayo kakaba-kaba.
O, ano pang hinihintay nyo? Tawag na sa 847-588-2500.
I am Alex Herrera and I approve this message.
We're back here at Hataw Pinoy Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we have here Miss Lea Salonga, everybody's favorite. Naku, talaga naman.
I wouldn't say everybody's favorite, but thank you for being
Yeah,
generous.
you know what? Because I have that one family. Alam mo naman dito sa America, we're such big on family, di ba? Kasi we're far away from home, from the Philippines. So everybody who's like your friend becomes an extended family.
Oh, ganun na nga.
And they're all coming to see you.
Oh, okay.
Fans mo sila.
Ah.
So they're not gonna miss it.
Ay,
They're not
salamat.
gonna miss
Thank
it. But anyway, we promised our viewers earlier before we went on break. We said we're gonna tell them why you are
I'm
mad
mad
as
as
hell. Kasi when I checked your website, it
Mm-hmm.
says Leah is mad as hell. Bakit ba? Ano bang
I know,
kinagalit mo?
But it has nothing to do with anybody necessarily.
Okay.
But it is part of the 1 Billion Hungry campaign of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization.
Mm-hmm.
I was nominated as a Goodwill Ambassador for the UN. I mean,
Congratulations.
thank you.
It's a great honor.
It's a good honor, and I think anyone.
Yung
Ayan naman po
fan
ang
club mo.
aking fan club dun sa likod ng camera. Thank you, marami pong salamat. But I think it's more than that. And I think every single person that they have nominated, there's quite a few. There are quite a few ambassadors that have been listed, including Susan Saran and Celine Dion, Anggun, who's an Indonesian singer who now resides in Paris, and she's actually pretty popular. When I met her, I got starstruck. And it's all of these people who come together for really one purpose, and that is to just tell the world that there are almost 1 billion people hungry, who experience chronic hunger, who can't figure out how to even fill 1 cup of food a day. And in the Philippines, there are about 3 or 4 million families that are experiencing this. And we all kind of scratch our heads and go, what's the government going to do about this, or what are people going to do about it? And my thing is, we really can't wait necessarily for one entity to do something. Everybody has to get in on it, and whether it's visiting, FAO's website to see what they can do in their part of the world to help fix the problem, I think it's everybody's responsibility to try and alleviate this problem. And the thing is, there was it was World Food Day when I was nominated. This was in Rome, October of last year. And there were people who came up to speak, the Director General, the head of the World Food Program, and all these other very official people. And all of them said, we are not lacking for food. It's not that we don't have enough food.
No, there's so much waste.
Exactly, there's a lot of wasted food. The problem is that it's access to the food. It's figuring out how the world's poor are able to get to the food that they desperately need. So that's something that everybody's trying to figure out. And I went on my first field mission, which I was pretty proud to participate in. A couple days after my birthday, I went to La Paz, Tarlac.
Okay.
Tarlac! I brought my mom, I brought one of my best friends, and I brought her so that she could see what this is all about. And the nice thing about what they were doing over there, it's predominantly a rice planting community in La Paz.
Central Luzon.
In Central Luzon. That's Pampanga, that's Tarlac, that's that part of the, yes. And they were teaching the farmers. They had a farmers field school where they were teaching the farmers what other crops to plant
besides rice.
Besides rice, and not as a replacement necessarily, but they're like a few months out of the year where they're not planting anything.
Right.
Because the
It's
rice
not
harvest.
rice planting
It's
season.
not rice planting season. It's the dry season. So, this is what you can plant during the rice planting season. Here are organic fertilizers to take away the need for anything that's chemical, and we can make it yourself so that you don't have to keep buying it. And learning all of these things and learning all of these skills will hopefully make communities in the Philippines and anywhere else in the world self-sustaining.
Right.
which means that they can take care of themselves as far as their food requirements are concerned. That it's not just all about what you plant to feed your family or what you can sell, but to fill in that gap.
Which I think is good, if they're teaching farmers like that. Kasi, di ba, sabi nga, it's better to teach a man to fish.
Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish,
you feed him for a lifetime. Right. So, I think that's good na hindi lang basta bigay lang ng bigay ng pagkain.
Yeah, because, handouts they don't help,
True.
It doesn't really generate anything. It's a temporary, very temporary solution. It's not really a solution.
Right.
It's a handout. And if say I was somebody who was to receive it, I kind of lose my dignity because I have lost the ability to take care of myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So that way, mas may dignity sila na naiiwan sa sarili nila.
Absolutely.
Because they're self-sufficient that
Yes.
way. Which is very nice.
Yes, absolutely.
Saka madami na ring organizations ngayon aside from the FAO, the UN, like World Vision for one, and
Yes.
Compassion, and Feed My Starving Children. All of these
I love World
organizations,
Vision.
they focus also on not just giving food.
Yeah, there's also education,
education,
and community enrichment, and all these and livelihood projects.
Right.
There's Gawad Kalinga, who's doing also a lot of things in the Philippines, and there's a lot that's going on.
Alay sa Kaunlaran in the Philippines too. So there's a lot of organizations that can help
Maraming NGO
out.
din na tumutulong eh.
Right.
Marami rin.
And I'm glad that you're lending your voice to the voiceless.
I figure I'm loud,
Yeah, because
Malakas ang boses ko.
when you
I
talk,
figured I'd make myself useful.
When you speak, people listen. You have the celebrity, and you're using it wisely.
I'd like to think that I may have inherited that from my grandfather who was in politics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, do you
or
have
my
any
mom who's just
plans?
loud. No, at the moment, and I'm not going to say never, but at the moment right now, I have to focus on my work, I have to focus on my family. Politics does not have a place right now in my life. I mean, who knows, maybe 20 years down the line, my tune could very well change.
Okay, so
And
we'll talk to you.
Talk to me in
when
20 years
when that
about
time
that.
comes. Okay.
In between
all right.
then, we can talk about other things.
Okay,
but,
all right.
but just don't bring up politics.
But you know what? I know that you're also lending your voice now to certain advocacies, like in the Philippines. I know.
Right.
I read in your website that you're weighing in on sex
Yes.
education in the Philippines.
Oh, yes.
Ha! Mukhang nagalit ka rin dun, ha? That's
Oh,
also
yeah,
one thing that
that-
made you mad as hell.
That made me mad as hell. That was,
Yeah, but it's really nice because, I mean, talking about a very controversial topic.
yeah.
And
It's only controversial if you say that it's controversial, if you
being
think about it.
straightforward about it,
Yeah.
you grab the bull by the horns and you really attack the subject.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to be conservative and go, it's all about sex. No, that's not my personality, and two, that's not how I was raised. I mean, I didn't go to a Catholic school, and I'm probably much better off that way. I don't think that would match my personality necessarily. But I am somebody who, although I was born Catholic, raised Catholic, and I still like going to church, I get angry when, number one, when I'm told what to do. I really don't like being told what to do, in general. And two, this is something that's very personal.
Right.
I mean, what right does anyone have to tell me and my husband how we will control our family size as a couple? That's a discussion between us. It's a discussion that I can have with my primary care physician, with my OBGYN. And this is something that we have to figure out. And it's just very personal. And I mean, and if we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of birth control, there are so many ways to do it. If you think about it, there's the natural way, of course there's artificial. But let that be my decision which way I would want to employ. I don't want somebody else's beliefs to be forced upon me.
True, that's very right. And mabuti nga kasi there's a conversation going on right now,
Yeah.
diba? Hindi natin pinag-uusapan. It's always like, always wag mo pag-usapan yan kasi it's taboo in Philippine society, di ba?
Yeah.
In this day and age, meron pa bang taboo
And
na
the
pag-usapan?
thing is, young people have access to all kinds of information
Yeah.
thanks to the internet. Actually, even thanks to your cell
Texting
phone.
pa nga.
You just turn on your cell phone, makakaabot ka na sa iba't ibang sites, which will give you information, not necessarily
The correct
right or correct information or age appropriate. It's all unfiltered.
Right.
Unless your parents do the whole parental control thing, but even that's difficult to do. And when you have somebody who's impressionable and curious and wanting of information, I mean, your school has a responsibility to teach you, but age appropriate. I mean,
Right.
you don't tell people how to have sex.
True.
You know, 10. That's just that's just inappropriate. I wouldn't want my kid
Yeah.
knowing about that at that age. But there are certainly a lot of things that everybody needs to be aware of. I
Yeah.
mean, AIDS is something it's a fast rising disease in the Philippines. It's one of the Philippines is like one of the 7 countries where the rise of the incidences of AIDS and HIV infection is going up, and it's scary to think about.
So we really need to talk about this.
Yes, it's something that we need to talk about.
And if you guys want to know what Leah is talking about magpunta kayo sa website
Go to my
niya.
website,
You'll find out.
It's
You'll find
unfiltered,
out.
uncensored. It's just whatever I happen to be thinking, and I try to infuse whatever I write on the site with humor. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, just to add levity to
I was
the
gonna ask
situation.
I was gonna ask permission if you could reprint it in the local newspaper dito.
I guess it's fine.
Okay.
I
We'll do that
guess.
then.
We'll have to figure. Yeah, we'll have to figure
So
that
we'll
out.
make an announcement kung paano yung mababasa sa local newspaper.
Yeah, just
dito.
check out the website. It's all there anyway, and everyone has access to it.
And going back to your career, alam ko people love you for your singing, for acting, for your presence, Leia. And those of us who are still back home and who have relatives back home, I know that you're doing a concert with David Pomeranz.
Yes, at Resorts World, and he's a lovely, lovely man.
Yes, he is.
He
We grew
is.
up
He's lovely.
listening to
I
his
grew up
songs.
listening to "Got to Believe in Magic" and "The King and Queen of Hearts," and I was lucky enough to get to actually work with him. But that was many years ago, about 19 years ago, on a concept album for a musical based on the life of Charlie Chaplin called "The Little Tramp." I got to play the role of Una O'Neill Chaplin, who was, I think, his final wife, his 4th wife, and I got to sing 2 really gorgeous songs on the album, and yeah, I will be singing those songs as well at the concert. And you know, at least I've had songs written by David Pomeranz, which is really cool.
And Leia, I would be doing my daughters a disservice if I don't ask you how it was working with Nick Jonas.
Okay, how old are you?
My daughter is 15, my youngest daughter. My 21-year-old just adores you, but my 15-year-old
Wants to know
wants
what
to
was
know-
it like working with Nick Jonas?
Yes.
Okay. My first impression of him when I first met him, he's very serious. He's very, very serious. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm 39 years old. He's 18. He might as well be 39 years old, and I might as well be 18 with how unserious I am and how serious he is. He's very businesslike, very, very professional. He does crack a smile every
Once
now
in a
and
while.
then. Once in a while, but mostly, you know, his work ethic is very. It's great that, you know, he arrives at work on time, if not early. He really takes on the responsibility very, very well and tries to go above and beyond the call of duty. And he's a really nice guy, and really, really nice. And he's talented and lovely, and he has a lovely family. And it was a blast working with him. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I just got to work with a Jonas brother. And it's a little otherworldly. And he got to meet my daughter, who at the time had just turned 4. And so she was in my dressing room. They had just come from a day of sightseeing, my husband and his family and my daughter and her little cousin, who's also 4. She was in my room, so I went, and Nick's room was next door to me.
Does she know who Nick Jonas is?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So I leave my dressing room and I go to his room. I knock on the door and I said, and I think he and Samantha Barks was playing up and were hanging out in the room. I'm like, oh yeah, my daughter is right next door. They both just jump and then they come to my room. And then I asked Nick, can I please take a photograph of you and my daughter, who's Nick. Her name's Nick. And he says, oh yeah, sure. So she's got this really pretty smile, in the photograph and everything. He leaves the room. He says, it's nice to meet everybody. He leaves the room. My daughter turns to me, Mommy, that was Nick Jonas Brothers. I said, yes, honey, that was Nick Jonas Brothers. I didn't say who he was. When he got into the room, I just said, this is Nick. This is also Nick.
Because her name's Nicole.
Yes, her
right?
name is Nicole and her nickname is Nick. And she's like, that was Nick Jonas Brothers. I was like, wow.
So best mom in the world.
Somebody's been watching the Disney Channel. And yeah, so I was like, wow, she's already at that age where she can actually recognize celebrities and people. And I mean, they're not a bad band to idolize, and
Yes.
it's not a bad group to actually follow. I mean, the music that they make is actually good,
Very
and the
wholesome,
values that they
yes.
stand for are really good.
That's why
So, yeah.
I let my daughter listen to their music.
Oh yeah, they're good.
They're good.
And he writes. He's always writing. They call him the president because if any apparently if any one of the three is going to ever become the president of the United States, it would
That
be
would be
him.
Nick, okay.
It would be him.
All right, Leia.
Very serious.
So, Leia, I'm sure you have a lot of fans out there watching, mga batang Filipino
Mga
Americano.
batang Filipino-Americano.
Yes, who would want to follow in your footsteps? So, what would your advice be to them?
Well, it's a two-part advice thing. I say first of all, very objectively, you have to figure out if what you have is a gift. If you actually can sing, if you are somebody that actually possesses a really good measure of talent, not just a little bit, but a whole lot. We're talking Bruno Mars kind of talent. We're talking, Barbra Streisand, just amazing, amazing kind of talent. And then after that, you train, learn as much as you can, and then, hoping for the best, there's a break that comes your way, and you're just off into the stratosphere. There are very few people to whom I would actually say, just go for it. You need to do this. Just go for it. Not a lot of people, because there's not a whole lot of people that have it.
Yes, contrary to what the parents say, oh, galing ng anak ko.
Kasi to a parent naman, I mean,
Everybody, their anak is always the best.
always the most
Yeah.
beautiful, always the most talented. But you got to be objective. You got to actually take a step back and say, does my kid really have something? Does this person actually have what it takes? And and even with my own daughter, I have to be objective with her. I mean, she loves to dance and flounce around, and people ask me the question if I want her to follow in my footsteps. My thing is, if she's got something that's really, really special, that is undeniable, then I really don't have a choice. It's like the choice has already been made for her. But right now, she's too young for me to be able to discern if there is something there for her.
Very well said, Leia. So thank you very much. It's
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure and a joy talking to you.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. And also with our viewers, alam ko na madami kang advocacies na pinopromote. And I hope that they would also support the UN, the United Nations Food
and Agriculture Organization. Their website is 1 billion. It's 1billionhungry.org, and the official FAO website is FAO.org, and it leads to the actual main FAO site.
All right. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Salamat ng marami. Diyan po mga kaibigan, exclusive interview po natin with Leia Salonga. At wag po kayo ngalas, babalik ulit ang Hataw Pinoy Chicago. Thank you. Ayan ang fan club mo.
Okay. Salamat.
Pakabay mo na.